Hello, my name is Cindy Baker, and I am here with my friend Tammy Treat. We are former missionary wives, although, once a missionary wife, always a missionary wife. And we are here to present for Daughters of Wisdom some thoughts on mission work and being an overseas missionary from our time on the field. Our previous episode, we talked a little bit about what it's like to prepare to go on the mission field and some of the things that we faced doing that and decisions that we had to make and what that was like. And today we are going to talk about being on the field.
Yes.
Yes.
You have prepared, you have raised all these funds, you have lived this transient life on the road, sometimes with babies.
Yes.
Yeah, you had a baby while you were fundraising. We had a toddler and a baby while we were fundraising. And you're finally there. You're finally on the field.
You get there and you don't have a return ticket.
Yes. Yes.
Which is
you
a
went
very
one
strange
way.
feeling.
Wow. Yes. And you get there and you're like, okay, we're here.
Now what?
Now what do we do?
You jump in.
Yes, absolutely.
So one of the initial things is like when you are on the field, you have to learn to be patient right from the get-go, because it's going to take time to feel at home on the mission field, because it's a lot of times a very big change from where you came from. So I don't know about you, Tammy, but I know that when we transitioned from the U.S. onto the field in Vanuatu, one of the things that I faced was the idea of fitting in. You adapt to certain customs and lifestyles. We changed some of the things of how we lived our life at home, and yet we were still American, and we weren't in Vanuatu, but yet we weren't in America, so we weren't fully American. And fitting in, it makes you feel kind of like you're never really at home in either place.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the big things on the field, especially as you go back and forth on furlough and different things. Like when we're in Vanuatu, we don't really fit in there necessarily 100% because we're not in Vanuatu. But when we come back to the States, that's a different animal too, because we come back to the States and we've been living this life in a totally different country, and then you don't feel like you really fit in the U.S. either. And
you're not up on all of the things.
No, you don't know what movies are in the theaters. You don't know what's in the news necessarily, especially when you're very, very far removed. And it probably does change a little bit because as our world becomes more and more connected through the internet and different things like that, that might not be as much of an issue for some missionaries. But in the time that we all went, it was not possible to know what was going on in the world. The internet was just barely accessible.
Yes.
We had terrible connection. It was dial-up type, and it just so you just get disconnected.
If I wanted to talk to my mother on Skype, I had to tell everyone in the house to get off their device and turn it off, so that nothing else was pulling the internet.
Right, and if you're lucky, there wouldn't be a big delay.
Yes.
And then sometimes it's like you talk and then you wait, and then you talk and then you wait.
Yep.
So all those little things that are just so different, and it takes time to feel like you are at home in that culture.
Absolutely, and I know it's easy to romanticize what life will be like when you get there, when you're not there yet.
Right.
And then you get there, and reality kind of sets in, and this is my life now. And I'm American, but I'm not trying to be American. I'm trying to, join the locals. I'm trying to be local.
Blend in.
But to some level, you can't. There's a level that you will never be local, no matter what.
Right.
And, it also, their perspective of you, their perception of Americans has been so colored by movies.
Hollywood, yes.
Oh, I can't tell you how much that they think all Americans are so wealthy because they see movies and they think that's reality.
Right.
And it is so hard to talk to them and to explain to them that that is not reality.
Right.
But it's just they've got you in a box in some ways.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you have to learn how to be patient with.
Yes.
And you have to work through.
Yeah, you have to be patient with the Christians you're working with, the
Mm-hmm.
people you're working with. You have to be patient with yourself because it takes time to like feel at home. It takes
Yes.
time to get to where you're not feeling like you don't know what to do in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no help for that but time.
Yes.
And so patience is of absolute necessity.
Yes.
Even as you're teaching people the gospel, they're coming from a very worldly mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And how they live their lives is totally different. I know in Vanuatu, we dealt with issues of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
It was very commonplace if a wife said too much or, stepped out of line and her husband didn't like it, he'd slap her around.
Mm-hmm.
You'd show up at church and somebody's got a black eye and you're like, okay, something has gone wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've got to help them through this and help them and train them. Okay, this is what a Christian couple looks like. And you can't just immediately write them off and say, well, you are obviously not living the life you should.
Yes.
It takes patience because you're teaching them how to change the way they're thinking, and you're teaching them how to live a totally different life than what is normal within their culture.
Yeah. And they've seen their parents live
Mm-hmm.
this life this way. They've seen their grandparents. They've seen their
Right.
neighbors.
Yes.
Everyone lives
Right.
like this.
Right.
And now suddenly these white people are coming in. These Americans, these Westerners are coming in and they're telling us that everything we're doing is wrong.
Right. I know the first time Aaron ever preached a sermon and was like, I do not beat Cindy when she, whatever. Not that I would ever say too much.
Yes.
But, and they're like, what? Like, they could not believe that because it's so foreign
Wow.
to how a lot of them live. Now, not all islanders in Vanuatu live that way, but there were a large number. It is something we faced a lot, and it's just totally getting them to reshape their thinking. It takes patience to get through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things, we didn't deal so much with domestic violence. There was, some, but not like that where it was so commonplace. But one of the issues that we dealt with on a regular basis was particularly foreign workers who would come in and live on these islands, and they would have a husband or a wife back home, and then they would have a boyfriend or a girlfriend on this island where they live. Everybody knew. Everybody knew that, this boyfriend and girlfriend, they knew that they were the boyfriend or girlfriend. The husband or wife back home, they knew.
Right.
And it was just the way, because
It was accepted.
they didn't go home but every 2 or 3 years. So what were they supposed to do? This was normal.
Yes.
Until we explained that it's not okay with
Right.
God.
Yes. Yeah. So it just takes patience
Oh, yes.
to work through those things. Absolutely.
You're changing people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
Yes.
care what it is, changing someone's mind on something, it's not a quick and easy situation that, oh, well, I've explained this to you. And, oh, well, that, by all means, I'm going
Right.
to change my life right now.
Right. It takes time.
It does.
I mean, we're the same way. Another
Yes.
big aspect of mission work and being on the field is definitely like stretching
Mm-hmm.
yourself to try new things, to do new things. And that's one of those things, like, you're stretching your mind in how
Yes.
you deal with those things. Like, okay, now I have to think about how am I going to approach this topic and, teach them from the gospel what to do differently.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you're on the field, just the nitty gritty of daily life, it's very difficult, but it's a constant effort in stretching and trying and pushing yourself. And I talked a little bit about this one in our episode on preparing for the work, but for me, a huge thing was overcoming fear. Like, Vanuatu was very scary to me because it's so primitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I don't think I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get to the point where I was willing to stretch myself to do that, to try.
Yes.
And, one of the verses I went to often was Philippians 4:11 through 13, which I happen to have open.
Okay.
It says, not that I speak from want, but I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am. I know how to get along with humble means, and I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And that verse kept me going in those times. Like, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. God, I don't think and I am up to this task. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And he did strengthen me for those things, but I had a lot of fear. You name it, I was scared of it. I worried about it. I worried about the dirt. I worried about the toilets. I worried about outhouses. I worried about eating foods that I wasn't used to. I was a comfort zone kind of girl.
Yes.
I did not want to get outside my comfort zone. But when I finally got to the point that okay, I'm willing to try to get outside my comfort zone, I was able to do more. And you have to be willing to stretch yourself. And it's not an easy thing.
It's not.
It's one of those things much easier said than done.
Yes.
But,
But the more we do it,
right,
the easier it does get.
Yes.
Because then you train your mind to think, instead of thinking, I can't, you train your mind to think, well, I'm not sure I can, but we'll pray about it.
Right.
And we'll see what doors God opens, and we'll see if this works or if it doesn't.
Right.
And I think one of the big things that being on the field, I know taught me, was that that's okay. It's okay if I don't know. As Americans, I think we're definite. We got to know.
Yes.
We got to be
absolutely.
in control.
We love the control.
Oh,
yes.
we love the control. But mission work throws control out the window.
Yeah, you have to.
There are so many things that you are not in control of on a regular basis, and the more you are pushed into dealing with it, the easier it gets to get comfortable with that.
Right.
I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's something that I was taught in exercising. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It helps your muscles grow.
Right.
It helps your spiritual muscles to grow.
Absolutely.
If you will get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes. I could not agree with you more. It sounds great. It's so hard.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so I don't know about you, but, a big thing for me was food. I was not an adventurous eater when we moved to Vanuatu. I mean, I like different things, but I wasn't, super adventurous. And here we go to this country, and I'm, looking at the spread on the, Sunday potluck.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that looks different.
I'll take the white rice. Everything looked different.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if I was up for it. And I had been on the field a few years, and I started to kind of get a little bit more adventurous with my eating, willing to try things. Because I grew up in a home where it's it doesn't matter if you don't like it. If somebody offers it to you, you're going to try it. And you're going to just put on a smiling face, and you're going to eat it anyway. That's the home I grew up in. And at the time, I hated it. I thought it was torture. But looking back, I'm thankful that my mom and dad made me do that, because it forced me to be willing to try new things. And so I had to try new things in Vanuatu. I had to stretch that way. But it wasn't long. I'd heard that the local people like to eat bat, fruit bat. And I'm like, no, I don't think that is an animal that I'm supposed to eat. So I pretty much had decided, in my mind, I'm like, okay, if somebody offers me bat, I'm just going to politely decline. That's just going to be one of those things that I say, no, thank you, I can't do that. And we had been there several years. We went over to someone's house, our friend Sam and Leimawa, and they were making a meal for us. And Leimawa, she was so precious, and she was such a dear friend. We'd converted their family. She just had done so much for us in just how she was. She was just such a kind and generous person. And we get there that night, and she's like, Cindy, guess what, Auntie Cindy? I made this bat. And she had roasted it on the fire, cut it up in pieces, roasted it on the fire, kind of like you cook a chicken or something, And so I was like, oh. You want me to have this bat? And she's standing there with this dish of bat parts. Well smoked. I mean, they did look like good smoked chicken pieces.
Yeah, there you go.
But it was bat.
Yeah.
And I looked at her sweet face, and I'm like, I'm going to have to eat the bat. I have to eat the bat. I can't tell her no. I have to eat this bat. And that was a stretching experience. But you know what? I ate the bat. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible,
Mm-hmm.
but I did it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I survived. I am still alive today. So I don't know if you had similar experience.
Yes, we did. In Palau, fruit bat soup
Yeah.
is a delicacy.
Yum.
And one of the local restaurants, it was one of their
Wow.
things.
Okay.
Basically, the whole bat cooked in a pot of coconut soup.
Yum.
Yeah, I didn't have the benefit of being cut into parts and then smoked, and it looks more like chicken. No. It looked like bat. You could literally pick the bat up and spread its wings.
So bad.
And it would look at you.
No. Okay.
Now, I did try the bat.
Uh-huh.
People always wonder, what did the bat taste like? Mm-hmm. And I tell them the bat tasted like a cave. That was the flavor of the meat. It tasted like dark meat chicken,
Yeah.
but it had a dank, earthy,
gamey.
Yes,
Yeah, it's kind of a gamey flavor.
and it's like it tastes like what you smell in a cave. That dampness and
yeah.
but the locals, they eat the whole thing, skin and all.
Yes.
Now,
including the wings.
Yes.
Now
I just ate the meat. That was my limit.
Yeah.
I did try it.
Right.
The meat was it.
Yep.
So
that's all right.
But yeah, there's some interesting foods that you're faced with.
Yes.
And
the whole chicken, all the chicken, the head and the feet.
Oh.
But it's actually turned out good, because when we got served a soup with the head and the feet in it, I was like, I told the lady that gave it to us, I'm like, it's okay. We Americans don't eat those parts, so you all get them. And she's like, oh, goody. Great. You all don't like that. Super. So I'm like, okay, great. I did her a favor, because she now gets to eat the chicken head and the little decrepit looking claws floating in the soup, so it all works out in the end.
Absolutely.
But if somebody handed me that chicken foot, I would have to try it, because you just
and when you're there and you're living with these people and you see how much money they have and you see what they can afford, and they've made this dish and they want to share it with you, what is it going to do to these people if we turn up our nose,
right,
and we say, there's no way I'm eating that?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into thinking about how I'm going to approach a situation like that. And it's something you do. You have to think about it ahead of time and think, how am I going to handle this when it happens? You may taste it and say, you know what? Thank you for making that, but it's not really for me.
Yeah.
But you've tried it.
You've tried it, and you'd show them that you're willing to try it.
Yes.
Especially when you start thinking about the number of hours that they spend preparing those things. We are used to, I need some chicken breast, so I'll run to the store and I'll go pick up my prepackaged, boneless, skinless, everything's ready to go. Well, if they want to have chicken, you got to kill a chicken.
Yeah.
You got to take out the feathers. You have to cut it up in pieces. It's a whole process that we take for granted. But once you start thinking about the effort and the time and the sacrifice that they make to prepare something for you, it does change your perspective.
Yes.
And that helps the stretching. It makes it easier.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure.
And when you come to love the people and you get to know the people, it just affects the way you think about things like that. And it does become easier. I know in the early years, one of the early potlucks, I can remember going and looking at the potluck and going, what is that? Are those suction cups? And it was an octopus casserole.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yes.
And you could see all the little suction cups on its little legs chopped up into this casserole. And that was kind of very off-putting at the time, and I didn't try that one. But it was, again, we were at a potluck, so it wasn't
nobody noticed that you didn't try the octopus casserole. Well,
but as the years passed, I became more willing to try things and to accept that, okay, it's okay if I eat this, and I won't die.
Right.
There might be some things I could die but yeah, we were never
Right.
faced with those kind of
Thankfully.
things.
Thankfully. Yes. Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, you do find yourself in all sorts of situations that are difficult, but you do have to stretch and push yourself to do things you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one day there had been like a man that was in the hospital, and the family was gathering. Some of the women were gathering together to like, they wanted me to come and say a prayer with them for their uncle that was in the hospital. And so I was like, okay, I went and did that. I said the prayer, and this is when we lived in Tana in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
And as a thank you, his wife gave me a chicken, a live chicken. Now, I hate birds. Like, birds are horrible. I'm terrified of birds. I mean, they're fine, like, out in the yard. They can fly around. They can do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any birds close to me. Chickens, I've gotten more used to. They can be pecking around on the ground around me, and I'm fine. But I don't want to touch them. I don't want to hold them. I don't want them to be close to me in any way. And she's like, oh, Auntie Cindy, thank you. Here's this chicken. And she tied the legs together, and I'm looking at it thinking, okay, I walked over here with my friend Tess. Maybe I can get her to carry the chicken home. But then she's like, oh, I'm going to go over and visit this other person. So I'm like, okay, it's me and Kayla, who's 7. I'm thinking, maybe Kayla will carry the chicken home. But then I'm thinking, okay, if I make Kayla carry the chicken, this is going to be a problem. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do about this situation? So I'm like, I'm going to have to carry the chicken. There is no other way around it. I'm just going to have to carry this chicken. So I pick up the chicken, and I mean, looking back, if I had been more natural, I would have picked it up and held it in my arm as they do. Mm-hmm. But of course, that's not even a possibility in my life. So I hold it away from my body, and I'm carrying it upside down by its feet. And off we go to the house. And I'm like, this thing, and I'm holding it away from me because I can't hold it close to me because then I'm touching it even more. And I'm just like, it was the worst thing. And we get up to our house, and our dog comes out, and of course, I didn't even think about it. He comes out to sniff, this chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even think about it, and all of a sudden he's close to the chicken. Well, that chicken like starts squawking and flapping its wings, and I mean, there was no choice. I dropped it on its head, because that's what you do with a chicken. You don't want to carry it in the first place. Yes. But I did it. I carried that chicken home.
You made it home.
I made it home, and it didn't die from being dropped on its head, so that was good. But you find yourself in all sorts of situations that you just have to push yourself through. And the funny thing is, you do survive those. And
yes.
Now
and then you have a funny story
you
to
can
tell.
laugh about it later. You might cry about some, but no. I mean, you do.
Yes.
You make it through. So
yeah.
It's definitely, being on the mission field it's a learning experience. You're constantly learning new things. So that's kind of,
And it's important to learn those things because there are so many ways that we can offend people by our own ways that we don't even think anything of it.
Right.
I know you were talking about how you shake hands differently.
Yes. Yeah. In America, you go to shake someone's hand, you kind of give it a couple shakes, real firm.
Yeah.
In Vanuatu, you give one shake, and it's just kind of like a very small shake, and sometimes not even really, it's more just of a touching of the hand. It's totally different. So getting used to that, I mean, the first time I shook somebody's hand in Vanuatu, I'm like, nice to meet you. And I think he was like, what are you doing to my arm? I learned.
Strange American custom.
Yes. And there is a French influence in Vanuatu, so a lot of people that went to French school do the kiss on the cheeks, the bijou, as a greeting. And that's when Aaron's like, who are these people kissing me? Like, why are they doing that? So that took a little bit of adjustment. Yes. So there's those little bit of change there in learning the culture.
Definitely. And there's going to be stumbling moments, and I'll never forget one of the first conversations I tried to have on the phone when we moved to Saipan. I'm from Tennessee. I have an accent. Now, the accent I have today is only a fraction of what I used to have.
Yes.
And when we first moved to the islands and I would talk to someone, they wouldn't understand me. And so I had to learn through time and trial and error how to enunciate my words so that they could understand me. But when you get on the telephone, it's a whole nother story because they can't see your mouth.
Right.
And I'll never forget one of the first conversations on the phone, and I'm trying to explain something to this girl, and she can't understand me at all. She can't understand my name. She can't understand what I'm trying to tell her. We went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I finally gave up because it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So
what are you going to do?
Yeah. And so you again, it's trial and error. And you learn how to enunciate your words and not to use so many phrases like we like to use in the States.
All our American catchphrases.
Oh, I had no idea how many were just regularly in my regular day-to-day language.
Right.
Until I went to the islands. And then I'm finding myself, no, I can't say it's raining cats and dogs because they're looking at the sky going, what?
What are you talking about?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
one of the really
problem.
funny things is during the majority of our years, we were in Palau for 9 years. During the majority of that time, whenever I would call to order, carry out food, and then go to the restaurant to pick it up, it didn't say Tammy. It said Timmy. Because that's how it came across on the phone.
I mean,
so,
you don't look like a Timmy, but that's just me.
No. And on a regular basis, I was thinking, do you really think I look like a Timmy? Or do you not know Timmys? I guess you don't.
There might not be a lot
There
of Timmys.
may not be any Timmys where you're from, and you have no concept. But yes, and so that's a running joke in my family that, especially because in Palau particularly, a lot of the foreign workers would call you ma'am.
Oh,
that was just a common thing.
Yeah.
And no matter how comfortable we would get with them, they would still have a hard time not saying ma'am. So I was Ma'am Tammy.
Oh, okay.
Sir Joey and Ma'am Tammy.
Yes, okay.
And so whenever it was Timmy, it was Ma'am Timmy. So it's a running joke in my family. My kids occasionally will, Ma'am Timmy. And Joey likes to regularly remind me of that one.
Yes. Yeah, I think, those things you don't think about necessarily when you go in. One thing, we've kind of talked about before is like their custom of, in the islands, a lot of islands, the custom is like if you get up and leave a room that's like there's other people, if you're walking in front of other people, it's customary to kind of bow down, like hunch over to show like respect, you're being respectful.
Yeah.
And that just became so... the way I had to learn to do it when I got there. I didn't realize I was being rude by just standing up and walking out. I had to learn to, I need to kind of hunch over and bow down. But the problem is I did that for 7 years. Then when I come back to the States, I find myself still, even today, I will, if I'm going in front, passing in front of people, I kind of hunch over, and then I'm thinking, what do I look like to these people? They're probably like, why is she bent over like the bent woman?
Yes.
That's so unnatural. Just get up and walk out.
I know.
It's just, it sticks with you.
Yes, it does. And sometimes you just want to have a T-shirt that says, I lived overseas for a number of years.
Yes.
So if I do anything strange,
Please
that is
excuse
the
me.
answer.
Yeah. If you ever wonder why I do the things I do, this is why. Yes, yeah. It's definitely a learning process.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
And in that learning, one of the things that I had to really learn was when I was reaching my limits. When I was getting to the point where it's too much right now, and I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yes.
And I had to learn things to help me reset my mindset. There were days when we would, on certain islands, where it was just like I would get up one morning and I'd be like, today I just can't deal with cultural differences. I can't deal with this issue and this issue and this issue that I might run into when I go out. So I know that because of where I'm at today, I'm going to stay home. Yeah. I've got work. I don't have to go out. I've got work I can do at home. I can stay home today, and I can do things that help me feel comfortable,
Right.
that help me, that provide familiarity. Maybe I'll make a dinner that's home for me. Maybe I'll put in a movie that I watched when I was a child, and it brings back warm, familiar,
Right.
cozy feelings. So you have to learn your limits
Right.
and where you are. And those will change and those will stretch, but sometimes you just have to do what you need to do in order to survive another day.
Right. And I think, and there's definitely a balance in that, because you do need those times where you take a break and you get away and you do those things to kind of preserve, like, okay, I just need to be myself.
Yes.
You know, I need to be American Cindy for a day,
Yes.
or for this time. But also recognizing, like, I can't stay that way.
Yes.
Because it's easy to excuse yourself into, well, I just need to do this. I just need to do this one more day. Just, you know, and then you kind of hole up into your little world of your own home and not go out and push yourself to go out. So there's definitely a balance between the two. And, you know, but I think if you really love the work you're doing and love the people, you'll take those times away when you need them, but then your desire to reach them and reach them with the gospel and teach them the truth and, you know, help them grow as Christians is going to push you back out.
Yes.
So, you know, there is a balance between the two, I think.
Yeah.
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 But it's not always easy. You know, it's you think about just, we kind of talked about this before, but just learning that, like, our way of doing things isn't necessarily the only way. And I think that's a huge part of the learning experience being on the field is, like, American is not always equal better. And we kind of grow up thinking that. We kind of grow up thinking our way, of course, is the best way. And really, you know, maybe everybody from every country thinks that, because I don't know if you notice this, but as you interact with people from different areas of the U.S., they always say people from other states don't know how to drive.
Oh,
Do you ever, like, encounter that? Like, I mean, we live in Missouri, so what do we say about people from Illinois who are just on the other side of the river? People from Illinois don't know how to drive. Like, do you know how many times I hear that? A ton. You know, and you go somewhere else, it's because they don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
Well, what are they saying in other states? People from Missouri don't know how to drive. And it's kind of how we get very, you know, we're very loyal to where we're from and think that it's definitely the best. And it's the same way with mission work. We tend to think, like, the way we do it in America is obviously the best. We obviously know the best way.
Yeah.
And when you stretch and you learn a new culture, you start to realize, like, oh, there are other ways of doing things, and some of their ways are better than how we do it. You know, and it's a learning experience, you know, to get, as you kind of see and observe those things. And then, you know, you have to be careful, though, in how you handle those things.
Well, and one of the worst things you can do is go in with a haughty attitude.
Right.
I know what I'm doing, and I know what you need to know, and I know what you need to change.
Right.
And let me tell you.
Absolutely.
I know when we moved to Guam, there were a lot more Americans who lived in Guam. Well, let me preface that with, so Guam is a U.S. territory, so technically, we're all American. Okay.
Yeah.
But there were a lot more mainlanders,
Yeah.
put it that way, who were coming to Guam. And one of the common themes was complaining about what they couldn't get, how slow the mail was,
Right.
the humidity, the air conditioning in a place, the prices, you name it, there was a complaint about it. And when we first moved to Guam, of course, we're coming from Palau. So for us, moving from Palau to Guam was like moving to New York City from the middle of the country.
Right.
I mean, it was
Everything's
huge.
glamorous.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I was thrilled. There was a movie theater. There was a Ross to shop in.
I can't even imagine.
It was just, yes. Oh, it was huge for me. But when I would go to the grocery store and I would say, oh, yeah, I've just moved here. And they're like, immediately you see kind of a defensiveness come up. And, oh, well, how do you like our island? And I would be like, oh, this is great. You know, we moved here from Palau. We've actually lived in the islands at that time for 14 years. And so, you know, we love Guam. We love the islands. And their demeanor immediate
Totally
change.
different.
Big smile, happiness. Oh,
Yeah.
so you like the islands?
Yes.
We do. And it was such a different reaction than the initial.
Right. Well,
And
you think about it. It's because people are the same everywhere, and they want you to love their island, to love their home as much as they love it.
yes,
You know, they want you to think it's great. And we're the same way when people come to the U.S. We're like, don't you, we want you to love the U.S. like we love the U.S., and it's, every country is that same way, and people are the same. And so, when you go into a new country, it's important to try and learn the culture and learn the people and learn their ways and grow an appreciation for it. I mean, there's going to be frustrations. There's going to be things that make you crazy. I mean, there were things that were like, oh, Vanuatu.
Oh, yes.
They just make you nuts. But at the same time, what do we love about it? And what we loved about it far outweighed any frustrations we had while we were on the field.
Yes.
So,
Well, and again, there are frustrations here.
Yes, we are, yeah.
We
have our fair share.
We live with them on a regular basis, and we
Right.
they diminish in our minds. And that's kind of what, going to the field after a few years, you have to let those things diminish in your mind.
Right.
If you focus on them and you dwell on them, it's going to be very hard
Right.
to make it your home. It's going to be very hard to feel comfortable and to be happy.
Right. Yeah, true. That's so true. One thing I had to learn was that hospitality is different in the islands than it is in America. And that was a huge learning curve for me because my mom growing up was very hospitable, and she was kind of proper in the way she did. She had certain things and that she taught me, like, this is how you treat guests and all this. And so when people would come to our home, like local Christians would come to our home, I would feel like I needed to stop everything I was doing and visit with them until they were ready to go. Except for in America, people come to your home, they might stay 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, and then they're like, okay, I know you've got things to do, off we go. Well, in Vanuatu, that's not how it worked. They would come and stay 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and especially because our house was on the way to the local hospital, people would just land at our, come hang out at our house until they could, for the hospital open back up after lunch, or, until they were visiting hours, or, for whatever reason, they just landed at our house for a long time. And early on, I'm trying to entertain them, sit there and visit with them, and I'm thinking, I have a basket of wet clothes sitting on my back porch that I need to go hang up, and I'm not getting it done, but I didn't feel like I could leave them to do that. Or I have dirty dishes in the kitchen I need to go wash. And I put everything on hold, and then slowly I learned that's not what they expect. They don't expect me to drop everything to entertain them and sit and visit with them for hours. They expect me to offer them something to drink, offer them something to eat, and then say, okay, I need to go hang my clothes, and then they'll just, okay, great, and they'll just hang out and do what they do, and I'll go take care of my stuff, and then, I'll come chat once in a while and that kind of thing. And once I figured that out, it was so much easier. My home life and hospitality life got so much easier. And I remember early on, before I learned that, and probably one of the most pivotal things for me was we had a ladies' day type thing. And all the women, we went out to this village, we worshiped with the women out there, we did a ladies' Bible study and all of that. We went and did some sort of activity, I can't remember what we did. Ate, lunch, all that stuff. We come back, and there were several people who were going to come wait at my house for their transport to take them to their village. And there were probably 4 or 5 of these women. And they come to the house, and I'm like, I am so exhausted from this day. I just want to go lay down. And they're all, hanging out in the living room, and, I made sure everybody had something to drink and all that stuff. And I was just like, I'm tired. And so I went and talked to Aaron, and I'm just like, oh, what am I going to do with these women? I'm so tired, but, they're here. What are we going to do? And I talked to him for a little while, and then I come back out. And on my front porch, which the doors of our house were French doors, and we left them wide open all day long. And I had pretty big front porch. They had laid out their mats on the front porch, and there they were lined up like sardines, sleeping on the mats on the front porch. They were napping, and I'm
They
like,
were tired too.
they were tired too. People are people. People
Yes.
are the same everywhere.
Yes.
They were tired too, and I was like, huh, okay, all right. Learning moment.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I went inside and I laid down on my bed and I took a nap because
Mm-hmm.
that was okay.
Yes.
And once you learn those things, it makes it so much easier.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Well, it looks like we're out of time for this part
Yes.
one, and
Yes, I
we
need
are
to take a
definitely going to have to go into a part two because
I think so. We were long-winded.
this
but
is
that's okay.
this is a topic that can't be condensed into
Correct.
one segment.
Correct.
So, tune in for the next one.